Palantir.
Did you see my tweet about it?
I haven't seen it. I haven't been on the internet.
My entire tweet was simply everyone's hyperventilating about Palantir and all of this, him creating this master database on all of us. If they're talking about it, Matt, it means they already had it.
So we talked about Palantir, I think,
Many
very
times.
first podcast
Yeah.
after the election.
We've talked about it several times, yeah.
And we got a lot of shit for it too. I can't believe you don't like Palantir. They're like Americans.
Peter Thiel is my man.
But we also said then that they are not a data collection company, that they are a dashboard company. They take the data in which you already have and they help you visualize it in a way so that it makes sense. They help you organize your data, not collect the data.
Yeah, they're essentially an aggregator.
Correct.
Yeah.
So when the New York Times says, oh, they're collecting all your data, that's not true. That's not their job.
They're not collecting it. All the other institutions and entities are collecting your data.
All the agencies are collecting your data.
Yes, we know this. Right.
They're just making it easier for them to understand your data.
Yes, and amalgamate it all together.
So do I love what Palantir is doing? No.
No.
Do I think they are the evil root of collecting your data and being evil in this world? No.
No.
I think that they create a service. I think they did it very well. I think they happened to get a lot of government contracts because they did that well. Again, I don't love that they're helping the government organize data because right now they're in just random files and they don't know how to do it. So they're collecting all this data on all these Americans. They don't know what to do with it. They don't know how to organize it. Palantir came around and said, hey, you know how you've collected all this data on all these Americans? Well, we can help you parse through it much easier.
Yes.
That's what they did.
And we'll give you some great business intelligence on what people are doing.
Correct.
Right, that's what it is.
I don't think the government should be collecting data on us. I think that's infringement of our privacy and our rights, actually. But that's not Palantir that created that. And I don't want to sound like a Palantir shill because we've been very critical on Palantir.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we have to be honest about what they're doing. Otherwise, you can't solve problems if you don't even know what they're doing.
I was about to say, some of the internet people out there might be saying, Well, Matt, you got Palantir in your back pocket here because you sound pretty positive about it. This is a nice spin you got here going. Yeah, so no, Palantir offers a service. They're a service layer. They're the candy wrapper on all of this data that these organizations and government entities are already collecting on you, which, by the way, all of your data, Google already owns it. Facebook already owns it. The NSA already owns it. The three-letter agencies already own it. This has been proven. You can go through the documentation. They're all collecting. All your cell phone stuff is being sent directly to the big black tower in New York, wherever it is, and over in Dallas. We already know this. Palantir is just the service layer that says, hey, we have all this fractured data all over the place. Let us give it to you on a silver platter so you can understand it. Now, some
nice
people,
iPad app where you can scroll through. And that's what they did.
They're business intelligence, right? That's the way that I looked at it. Is their business intelligence. I remember using Business Objects. I don't know if you've ever heard of that company back in the day, but back in the early 2000s, a big company, Business Objects, came out, and they were part of that SaaS movement, the SaaS, SaaS movement of saying, hey, you got all this fractured data in Excel database, access databases. We're going to bring Business Objects in as a service layer on top of it so you can actually make intelligent decisions on all of that data. That's what Palantir is. Palantir is a service layer that says, hey, you got all this fractured data. We're going to give it to you in ways that you can understand it. Now, some people would go as far as to say that's actually dangerous. It's better that they're fractured. It's better that they can't go through search.
Of course.
It's better that they can't figure out and make all these connections. But that was my answer to that is it was going to happen anyway.
If
I
am a technologist and I identify a problem that there's scattered data and I can figure out a business to put that data in a readable form, that's a real business.
And you're going to make a shit ton of money.
Exactly what
Exactly.
they do. I don't love what they're doing but the root problem that we're facing is not the organization of data, it's the actual collection of data. So if you don't like what these databases on Americans that are being created, I'm not saying don't be mad at Palantir because they are a part of the system, but they're not the root cause of it. Just a quick break before this video continues. If you haven't signed up for Soju yet, go check it out, soj.oo. It's a social discussion platform that we've created. That's where the community is hanging out. Definitely worth checking out, soj.oo. Also, if you're not subscribed to the channel yet, do it now. It's the fact that they're collecting data anyway.
Yes.
That's a problem that needs to be solved.
can I counter?
Yes.
How many of the fine prints, when you downloaded or updated your iPhone, your MacBook, or whatever, how much of that fine print do you actually read? The short answer is 0. If you actually read that stuff, and there have been sleuths who've gone through it, in the fine print that you just clicked accept anyway, just to get through it, and you had to scroll to the bottom to get to it, if you actually read it, it would say, we are actively collecting your data. Like you agreed to the terms of service.
We are actively ourselves complicit in our own data collection.
And so I find it a hard argument to blame these entities when the reality is you accepted those terms, you accepted the service, and you gave them your data freely so that they could sell it to third parties. Right? So I find it to be a weak argument at the base of the base, like root. Like who is the bad actor here? Is it the companies who give you a service and in trade you are willing to give them all your data? Are they the bad guys? Or are we the ones who have to be personally responsible and say, you know what? Maybe I don't want to give Google or Facebook or all these large entities my data. What's the real root cause here?
It's every man for himself. You have to be responsible for your own data, your own information, your own family, your own livelihood. The reality is that no one's out there to help you. You have to be careful and take care of yourself.
It sounds like freedom tools need to be made.
Working on it.
And poof, all the conversation about Palantir went away.
Gone.
Yeah, no one's talking about it.
Gone.
Maybe, here's another theory. Maybe this is just a play that we're in, which I always talk about because I think politics is a day of our lives play. It's a friend's show. Maybe this is the distraction away from what Palantir is actually doing.
But I would have agreed with you if it was just them publicly fighting.
But Palantir, you know this, with receipts, Palantir was invested by Epstein. And Epstein and Palantir and Peter Thiel, maybe not Epstein, but we know that Peter Thiel helped push in, here's another theory, J.D. Vance. He's the one who introduced Trump to J.D. Vance. So here's a meta play. Maybe this is a mechanism to get Trump out so that J.D. and Palantir and his homies like Peter Thiel truly take over the Borg.
So Elon is working with the other technocrats in order to remove Trump. Is that the claim?
I mean, do we not agree at some level that our government has been co-opted by big private and public businesses, big data companies?
So Elon, this entire time, was the controlled opposition. If that's true, it kind of makes sense. I'm not saying it is true. I don't know. But that narrative and story plays. Because I don't think Elon's going to be like, okay, I'm really gung-ho Trump, and then all of a sudden I'm going to flip. At least at this level. To do what you're suggesting. If this kind of ploy and this coup is going on, then you would assume that he was in it from the beginning.
That's the first time I've heard that word in all of these scenarios.
Coup.
Did you just bring up, that's a dangerous word. So let me pull on that even more. We know that, thanks to the internet sleuths and the receipts, that Elon's baby mamas are all of a certain species, all of a certain culture, all of a certain heritage. I'll tell you, the attack vectors for all of his baby mamas being of a similar species and being of a similar culture, really, if we think about the patterns out there with Epstein, maybe Elon was fully compromised by those entities and individuals of that species and culture group so that they told him to be the mole in the Trump administration so that they could get the big data companies and the Palantirs in.
If Elon was a mole, this problem is bigger than two men fighting.
Bro,
We are at the precipice of something enormous.
Yeah.
I actually don't like to think about it too much because the implication of what that means is actually huge.
Sounds like global destruction. Sounds like Armageddon. Let's put the pieces together here. We know that Elon has attack vectors that you and I would never allow in life, which is you now have, baby mamas, and you have mechanisms of control, right? He's got so many attack vectors because of his stupid penis. Like, if he didn't allow his little head to make his decisions for him, then he wouldn't have all these attack vectors, right? And so we have to believe at some level that he's been talked to. And from circumstantially, just recently, he had that black eye, which we talked about in our last episode. So maybe this was the, hey, it's time to get
Trump
in line.
Did commentary on that black eye, by the way.
He did, you're
which
right.
was really interesting. He said, yeah, we actually told Elon, offered him some makeup.
And he said no.
And he said no. Then that interesting. Like,
we've talked about rituals, we've talked about shame, we've talked about these types of things, yeah.
So, okay, final question. Is there a good guy and is there a bad guy?
Well, today is Friday, June 6th, and today is the 81st or maybe 82nd anniversary of D-Day, when America invaded Normandy and Omaha Beach and all those. And if for those who are illuminated, you know that D-Day in many ways was a, let's just say, sacrificial ritual. Where am I going with all this? You say, is there a good guy in all of this? Well, maybe in World War II, we weren't the good guys. Maybe we were the bad guys. So, celebrating D-Day, being a sacrificial ritual of all of our brothers who died for what? Trans? I mean, let's think about all of the people who died in World War II. Do you think they would be happy with how we've, let's say, honored their legacy?
I don't think there's a lot of people from that era that would be happy about what's going on today.
Probably not.
Regardless of if they died or regardless how they died.
Yes, probably not. And the survivors are probably, I mean, we know that the ones who are dead are rolling in their grave, and the ones who are surviving, we've seen clips of them being like, I'm going to kill, I'm going to delete this person because of blue-haired sheepdog. And so, again, I'm getting to the point. The point is, maybe they're all bad guys. Maybe there cannot be. Maybe Kim Jong-un is the good guy. Did you see that tweet?
No.
You didn't see the tweet, the meme of Kim Jong-un like tweeting to I forget who it was, and he was like, "Oh, these guys are fighting. They're asshole. I'm your missile man now," or something like this. It's like, well, maybe America is the bad guy, and maybe the good guys are the ones not stateside.
Let us know your thoughts. Who is the good guy? Are you team Elon? Are you team Trump? Are you team neither?
Tell us your theory. Tell us your theories too.
Or is this all political theater and we're just watching another episode of Real Housewives of Mar-a-Lago?
Ooh.
Thanks for watching the clip. If you want to see the full episode, click here. If you want to see more clips, click here.